If bending down or lifting something off the floor has started to feel like a gamble on your back, this one's for you. A lot of people are told the answer is sit-ups, crunches, maybe even something fancier like a V-up. If that's what you've been doing or what someone's been telling you to do, I want to stop you right there, because for most people past 50, those moves are simply too hard on the body, and they're not even targeting the right thing. They tend to strain your neck, put a lot of pressure through your lower back, exactly where you're trying to protect it, and mostly just work the same narrow strip of muscle down the front of your stomach. Today, we're going to cover a better approach, one built around 3 simple ideas: waking your core up, lengthening it, and then strengthening it. And instead of just working the muscles on the front of your stomach, which is what most core routines focus on, we're going to work the sides and the back of your core too, because a core that actually protects your spine needs all of it working together, not just the front. Think of your core less like a six-pack and more like a natural weightlifting belt that wraps all the way around your torso, front, sides, and back. If only one section of that belt is doing any work, the rest of it isn't offering your spine much protection at all. Waking up your core. Before any of the moves matter, you need to know how to actually switch your core on, and most people are doing this wrong without realizing it. The common advice is to pull your belly button in toward your spine. That does activate some of the deeper muscles, but it misses a lot of what we actually want turned on. Here's a better way to find it. Feel for the soft spot on either side of your stomach, roughly halfway between your belly button and your hip bone. Press your fingertips gently into that spot. Now, take a full breath in, and instead of sucking your stomach in, push your belly outward, like you're pushing those fingers away. You should feel that soft spot turn firm under your fingers as you do it. What's happening is you're building pressure inside your core, through your diaphragm, your deep abdominal muscles, and your pelvic floor, all bracing together. This is a completely different feeling than sucking in, and it's a far more complete way to protect your spine while you move. When you first try this, you might only be able to hold that firmness for a second or two before your fingers sink back in as you breathe out. And that's completely normal. It's the first stage of learning to control these muscles. Over time, the goal is to keep that brace even as you breathe normally, talk, or move around. Practice it daily, first thing in the morning or right before bed, and see if you can hold it for a full minute. You'll use this same brace in each of the 3 moves coming up, so it's worth spending a few days just getting comfortable with it on its own before layering the exercises on top. This might feel like an odd place to spend so much time before we've even gotten to an actual exercise. But this piece matters more than any single move that follows. Most people who struggle with their core aren't lacking strength so much as they've lost the ability to switch these muscles on when they actually need them, mid-lift, mid-bend, or catching themselves when they stumble. Rebuilding that connection is what makes everything else on this list actually protective, rather than just another exercise. Move 1, the side reach. This move lengthens and strengthens the sides of your core, the muscles that wrap around your torso rather than just sitting on the front. Here's the seated version, which is the right place for most people to start. Slide toward the front edge of a sturdy chair, sit up tall, and brace your core the way we just practiced. Let one hand rest down by your side and raise the other arm overhead with your thumb pointing back behind you. From there, reach up and over to the side, thinking about lifting your rib cage up toward the ceiling rather than just folding your body sideways. You're not trying to bend as far as possible. You're trying to get as much length through that side of your body as possible. Slowly come back to center, then switch to the other side. Breathe in as you reach over, breathe out as you come back to center, and pause briefly between sides. Keep going like this for about a minute total. If that feels too easy, here's a standing version that adds more challenge. Stand with your feet straight ahead, roughly hip-width apart, with a soft bend in your knees if that's more comfortable. Place one hand on your hip and push that hip out to the side as your other arm reaches overhead, thumb pointing behind you, lifting your rib cage up and over. Breathe in as you reach, breathe out as you return to center, then switch sides. Whichever version you choose, seated or standing, a full minute of this is what you're aiming for before moving on. Move 2, the leg lowering move. This one strengthens the front of your core, but with a very different setup than a crunch or sit-up, and it's much easier on your back. You can do this lying on the floor, or if getting down to the floor is difficult, on a couch or in bed works too. Start by finding your core brace again, then add one more piece. Tuck your pelvis slightly so your lower back presses flat into the surface underneath you to the point where you couldn't slide your fingers underneath it. This alone turns on a lot of the same muscles as the brace we practiced earlier. If lying flat on your head is uncomfortable, you can rest your head on a small pillow or keep your chin gently tucked and your head lifted slightly. For the beginner version, turn your palms up, let your arms rest by your sides, and bring both knees up toward your chest, bent at roughly 90 degrees, keeping that lower back pressed down the entire time. Breathe in as you slowly lower one foot down toward the floor, then breathe out as you bring it back up. Alternate sides, slow and controlled, for about a minute. If that starts to feel too easy, bring both legs together and lower them at the same time instead of one at a time, still keeping that lower back pressed flat. If you want an even bigger challenge after that, straighten your legs out further, anywhere from a slight bend to fully extended with your toes pointed, and lower them together as full leg raises. The rule that matters more than which version you pick. If your lower back starts to lift up off the surface, that's a sign you've gone one level too far. So drop back down to an easier version and build up from there over time. Move 3, the hip hinge stretch. The last piece strengthens the backside of your core, your glutes, hamstrings, and lower back, which matters just as much as the front for protecting your spine, especially when it comes to bending and lifting safely. Start seated for the beginner version. Sit with your legs out in front of you, toes turned outward, and let your knees follow the same direction as your toes rather than caving inward. Press your heels into the floor for stability and bring your hands forward. From here, lean forward from your hips, imagining you're bringing your stomach down toward the space between your thighs rather than rounding your spine forward or arching it back. You should feel a stretch through your hamstrings and inner thighs. Breathe in as you come forward as far as feels comfortable. Then press your heels down and breathe out as you return upright. Repeat this for about a minute. Once that feels manageable, you can progress to a standing version, which puts more demand on your glutes and lower back. Stand with a wide stance, toes turned out, knees tracking the same direction as your toes, with a soft bend in them. You can rest your hands on your hips or hold onto the back of a sturdy chair or a countertop. If you'd like extra support for balance, brace your core, shift your weight into your heels, and hinge forward from your hips, pushing your hips back behind you without letting your back round forward. The moment you feel your back starting to round, that's as far as you should go. You should feel the stretch through your hamstrings and maybe your inner thighs before pressing through your heels and squeezing your glutes to return upright. This last move is worth paying extra attention to because it's also teaching your body the correct pattern for picking things up off the ground, hinging at your hips rather than rounding through your lower back. That's exactly the movement that protects your spine the next time you're bending down for a box, a bag of groceries, or something you dropped on the floor. It's worth practicing this hip hinge pattern even outside of exercise time. Next time you go to pick something up off a low shelf or the floor, pause for a second and check whether you're pushing your hips back like we just practiced or rounding forward through your lower back the way most people do out of habit. Retraining that everyday movement pattern is honestly just as valuable as the minute you spend on this stretch itself. Putting the routine together. Here's how this fits into a simple weekly habit. Aim to do these 3 moves about 3 days a week. For each move, work up to a full minute, choosing whichever variation, beginner or more advanced, feels appropriately challenging without breaking form. Rest as needed between moves, then repeat the sequence of all 3, 2 more times, for 3 rounds total. And remember to bring that core brace into each move as you go. That's what ties all 3 together and makes each one more effective. Don't feel like you need to push into the hardest version of everything right away. If a full minute feels like too much at first, do less and build up gradually as the movement starts to feel more natural in your body. This isn't about chasing muscle fatigue the way a younger lifter might. It's about rebuilding the connection between your brain and the muscles that stabilize your spine. And that connection strengthens with repetition and patience, not with intensity. When to do it? Any time of day works, but many seniors find that mid-morning or early afternoon is best, when the body has warmed up from the day but hasn't yet started to fatigue. Avoid doing this routine right before bed when your body is winding down, or first thing in the morning before your joints have fully loosened. A gentle warm-up, even just a few minutes of walking around the house, makes each of these moves noticeably easier and more effective. What to expect in the first few weeks? In the first week or two, most seniors notice that the moves themselves start feeling smoother, more controlled, and less foreign in the body. By the third week, the deeper changes begin. Standing feels a little taller. The lower back feels a little quieter. Everyday tasks feel just slightly easier than they used to. Give yourself the full 4 to 6 weeks before deciding whether it's working, because that's when the real benefit shows up. Give this a real chance over a few weeks rather than judging it after one session. Practice the core brace daily on its own and layer these 3 moves in 3 times a week, and you'll likely start noticing it in ordinary moments. Reaching into a low cabinet, picking up a grandchild, carrying in the groceries, without that familiar twinge or hesitation in your back. That's the real goal here, not a stronger-looking stomach, but a body that moves through daily life with confidence and without pain. One quick note before you go. Everything in this video is for general informational purposes only and is not medical advice. It does not replace consultation with a qualified healthcare professional. If you have a specific condition, an injury, or anything that feels off when you move, please talk to a doctor before starting any new routine. If this video helped you, tap the like button so more seniors can find it. And if you want more videos like this, real solutions for real senior problems that go beyond the pills your doctor prescribes, subscribe to the channel. There's a new one every week. I'll see you in the next video.